Hi guys, this is Carla here again, and this time I'm going to review episode 16 of season 5 of Haven, the SyFy show. This episode is titled The Trial of Nathan Wuornos. And before I say anything, I just have to say, dude, this season is like killing me. It's so good. Seriously, that twist, that survivor twist where everything in Haven became this post-apocalyptic troubled ruin. Best thing they've ever done. It's so great. Everything, there's just such tension in everybody, and I just love it. It's amazing. I'm really happy with what they've been doing with this season so far, and I cannot wait to see where they're going. And this episode, I think this episode is a pretty big one for me and for anybody who loves Nathan, because over the seasons, Nathan's kind of become a bit of, the patsy. He hasn't made the best decisions necessarily, but he's always the one that gets blamed somehow over the seasons. And I know a lot of it is his fault, a lot of it is just not his fault. It's just the secrecy that surrounds the troubles that he cannot reveal. And this episode is kind of the culmination of that, honestly, because of the one thing, the one secret they have to keep, Nathan gets put on trial and almost put to death, honestly. And that's, for me, a signal that the writers know what they've been doing with him, and that the writers know that just that he deserves better in a way. I really like that, and I like the idea of them holding kind of like a tribe meeting or of sorts in this whole Athenian tribunal idea. I really like that because it often, when you have this kind of post-apocalyptic stories, you end up with complete anarchy. And we see a glimpse of that in this episode with that dude who was throwing troubled people into the dark closet to kill them. That is anarchy, and that's what you try to avoid if you're in a situation like that. And I like that the rest of the people, even the dude whose girlfriend just got killed, quote unquote killed, even that dude agreed that everything had to be done by the law. So that was, I thought it was really a really different take, because usually grieving fiance would be all over the place and being no, I don't care, but justice, blah blah blah, he needs to die, whatever. So I thought that was really interesting, because obviously the guy's a good guy. He just has a lot of issues, which pretty much everybody in Haven does, but the guy's not a bad guy, and if he was asking for Nathan's death, it was out of grief, but he was rational enough to know that it had to be done right. Obviously he just made up a bunch of lies later on, which weren't technically lies. Like Nathan said, I like that line, it's the facts are true, it's just his interpretation is the one that's, kind of not true, which is so... that was such a good line, because that happens everywhere in the world. It's people take this one thing as law and then just run with it, making their own interpretations, and that's why we have so much miscommunication and misunderstanding and fear of differences. And it's a very good lesson in life, and that is what you want from a post-apocalyptic tale, to tell you truths about our own life right now. So I thought it was really great in that sense. I liked the idea of it. I really like Greek mythology, so the idea of an Athenian tribunal, I really enjoyed it. The whole idea of the trial, in the end, it seemed like Nathan didn't really defend himself. He just kind of tried to make a nice pretty speech for the people to rally But he didn't really explain. I was hoping that he would explain all the things, or at least some of the things that he was accused of. And even though sometimes those decisions, like he admitted, sometimes those decisions he made weren't the best, maybe knowing why he made them would have done a bit more of a turn with the people. I mean, I guess we'll never know, because obviously Kira appeared right on time before we could hear the verdict, but I would have liked to see him explain a couple of those things, particularly after the barn where everybody just kind of blamed him and whatever. I would have liked to see him explain a little bit of that. But I understand that at that point they were kind of pressed for time and they couldn't. And just the whole thing of the trial, when it started as a method of like gaining time for Dwight and Charlotte to find Kira, that was all nice and good. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you can't tell the people about the ether. So you can't tell them that Kira's alive, fine, but you can't tell them that Kira was the one who decided to go with you. You didn't force anyone. Of course, it's like, and Dave was there. Couldn't Dave just, like, speak on his behalf or something? Like, he knew that Nathan didn't just up and leave. That they had it under control, or they thought they had it under control in the power plants. And Nathan wouldn't have really done anything. So, like, couldn't they have just said that maybe Kira chose to come with Nathan and risk herself, and because her powers were such that she could control the light, that she thought she'd be safe or something? Like, that would have been a good point to mention, because if Kira decided to go herself, then it's not murder, it could be just accidental, right? They never mentioned it, so I'm like, yeah, this trial is BS, but I like the idea of a trial, at least. That was interesting. As far as the Charlotte and Dwight thing, I really enjoyed their chemistry. I mean, I didn't think that I was going to ship them as much as I do last season, but I think it's nice. I think Dwight deserves someone, and I think I like Charlotte. I've said it over and over again. I don't think she's a bad lady. She's just from another world, and she's not used to how things are here, but I think she cares about Audrey, and I think she cares about Dwight, and I think she's going to come to care about the people in Haven. So I'm wishing for her the very best, and obviously she and Dwight can give each other company, so why not? I quite shipped them, and I thought this time around it was really nice because of the whole light thing, and the light was dimming, and they were like, goodbye Dwight and goodbye Charlotte, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, did you die? That was really funny, but I like that, and I like that she's trying to explain things to him instead of keeping secrets, because the whole last season, I mean, the whole mess was because they had chemistry, but then she was keeping this huge secret from him. So maybe she starts opening up to him, it will make things better between them. And just the whole Audrey and Nathan thing. I mean, obviously I'm a huge shipper of those two, and I love them to death, and every scene they get I just scream because they are such a powerful relationship. I love them. But I really like that scene. Well, mainly I like it because, again, this is the writers kind of giving us shoutbacks to previous seasons, which I always love, because it shows continuity. And I like that scene they have where Audrey's like, nope, I'm gonna, pull the fire alarm or something, because I cannot let that happen to you. And then Nathan's like, last time we tried this, I was the one saying that, and you didn't let me do it. And I think it's powerful. I mean, I also think that Audrey was correct in the fact that, okay, this time around, it's not your fault, and it's not your fate to die for killing someone you didn't kill. But at the same time, it's nice to see that Nathan learned a lesson, because the whole thing in season 3, at the end of season 3, And moving on to season 4 was that Nathan just could not let Audrey make her own choice. And it was a legitimate concern, because obviously he just loved her so much that he didn't want her to die. But it was her choice, and she decided to go into the barn on her own. So, it's nice to see that he's learned something out of that. I don't think he did it out of any mean thing. He did it because he loved her, and he just couldn't handle the idea of her dying. But at the same time, it's nice to see that he's learned, when the shoe is on the other side, that he understands what she was going through. So that was a really great conversation, and just the entire thing with Audrey and the troubled guy with the hearing impairment, that was intense. I really liked the fact that he used a guy who's hearing impaired to actually help, because so often people with disabilities are just kind of thrown aside as useless, and that is so wrong. And I am glad that this show is actually making a statement about it, making a statement that even if you can't hear well or you can't speak, you can be useful, and you can, you want the best for people, and you want to help, and you can help, So that was great. I really loved that guy. I'm forgetting his name at this point. I knew it for some reason. I knew it, and for some reason I forgot. But he was a great guy. I liked that Audrey actually knew sign language so she could speak to him. I mean, we've obviously never heard her actually use it, or not that I remember, at least. Never seen her use it, but I like that she knows, because again, it shows that she cares about the people she's trying to help, and she will do anything necessary to communicate with them and to get them to understand their trouble so that they don't hurt anybody by mistake. So that was really great. And I mean, it sucks that the guy is now like under a spell or whatever, but I really liked that, and the fact that he was so willing to help, even if using his struggle is probably very scary for him. But if Audrey said she needed him to use it, then he would do it, because he knows that Audrey wants to help people. So that was really nice. And about the Duke thing, I still don't understand why Duke is just enabling this little teenage brat, because really, you don't just go into a bank and steal $31,000 without, you are not a professional at robbing banks, so, that was kind of really stupid of them to not check for the guard and whatever. But again, I like her power. I can see, like, how her being so young, you can just kind of get in over your head when you find you can do something really cool. So I understand on her part. I don't really understand why Duke just let her do it. Seriously, man, you know better than that. You've dealt with the cops before, so you know better than that. And then when she got shot, and he absorbed her blood, that was the interesting part, because we'd never seen him absorb blood after the whole Mara thing. And it's really freaking intense, because in this case, her trouble was an old trouble, so it was technically like an Audrey trouble in a sense. It wasn't a Mara trouble, and because it was an Audrey trouble, I was expecting it to just be the same silver-eyed thing, but I guess not, because Mara did something to Duke himself, like she altered Duke's trouble in a way. So now he reacts differently to troubles, to old troubles. I wonder what would happen if he were to absorb the blood of someone with the new trouble, like with the Mara trouble. Like if the same thing would happen, or if just Mara made it so that all troubled people he absorbs, he would get this weird, black-eyed, I don't want to kill you, but I kind of have to thing, because that was intense. Let's face it. hopefully it will pass, like the Silver-Eyed version did, because I really don't want to see Duke stay that way for too long. But I guess we'll see. I mean, all I know is that it's really interesting that even that has changed, that Mara even went that far as to change how he reacts to that. Like, he's not just Trouble Bob, he's something else, and that's intense and that's scary, and I wonder if that's gonna have anything to do with him going back to Haven, because obviously if back when he thought he had no troubles, or maybe his trouble had stopped or something, he didn't really need Haven in a sense, but now his only way out of becoming that guy would be to be cured, meaning he needs to go back to Haven, because Haven is where all the people who know how to maybe potentially cure the troubles are. So I guess I want to know if that's going to be part of what he draws him back to Haven, because he's going to come back at some point, right? So I guess we'll see. Apart from that, I just overall I think, well, there was also the Sandman at the end, of course, which we already knew, like, from before. I already knew that there was something weird about that dude. I mean, we've barely seen him in this episode, so I don't really know what his game is. Like, is he evil? What is he trying to pull? But he's creepy. I always found him creepy, so yeah, I figured it would have something to do, especially when the guy, prosecutor guy, fiance guy, whose name I keep forgetting now. Why am I so bad with names? God. But that guy, since the moment he said he was asleep, I'm like, yep, that's creepy sleep dude. I guess I like Sandman better. He doesn't agree with me, but I like Sandman. It's a convenient name. Convenient nickname that's easy to use, so let's go with that. He was creepy, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I mean, obviously he can't just kidnap Audrey and hide her when they're all in a school, although I guess now that the darkness trouble is gone, he can just take her outside the school. But, you know, the school is where the food is at and where the safety is at, so I don't think he can just keep her kidnapped in some room, because Nathan will tear that place down, dude. If she just up and disappears, Nathan will freaking do a cavity search of each person if he has to, because he's not gonna just let Audrey disappear. Of course he won't. Neither will Dwight and Charlotte, now that they know that they need Audrey. So, you know, it's gonna be a friggin' manhunt, dude. That's just what it's going to be. So I don't anticipate him keeping her for too long, but I guess that's what the next episode is going to be about. And the cool thing is that the next episode, which will be titled, I don't remember what the title was, but the next episode is the one that Lucas Bryant himself directed. So that's gonna be interesting. I've been looking forward to that for a while, since we learned that he was going to be directing one episode. There it is. The episode title is Enter Sandman. That's funny, Haven writers. I like that. But yeah, it's going to be directed by Lucas Bryant, who plays Nathan Wuornos. So that is going to be one I'm looking forward to, actually. So as of this episode, I thought it was really great. I mean, there were a few things that was like, why didn't you just tell him that? You know, why didn't you just speak up for once? But for the most part, I really liked it. I like the intense quality that this season seems to have. Every episode is like boom, 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 stuff happening, and I really, really like that. So I guess I'm just really looking forward to it. It's kind of bittersweet, because at the same time, I really want to see what happens, but at the same time I don't want it to end because I love this show so much. But I really, really am enjoying the season so far, and I cannot wait to see the next episode. Not just because Lucas Bryant directed it, but just because the show in general is so good right now. The show is so good right now, and I really love it. So that's about it for my review. Another great episode. In the meantime, if you guys want to go and see more reviews of Haven and previous episodes, you can go to our website at thegeekypub.com. We have Haven, and we also have a lot of TV shows, movies, books, games. We have a ton of stuff in there, so if you want to read more reviews and listen to more reviews, just go there. We have a bunch of them. And that's about it for me for now. So I guess I will see you guys in my next review. So bye.